Today, we're going back in time, way back, to the year 680 AD, to a dusty, desolate plain in what we now call Iraq. A battle happened there that, on paper, looked like a total military wipeout. But what it became was one of the most powerful and lasting stories in Islamic history. A story that, believe it or not, still shapes our world today. This is the explainer on the Battle of Karbala. This really gets to the heart of it. Karbala isn't just remembered as some terrible tragedy. For millions of people, it's this profound moment of sacrifice and, strangely enough, of renewal. It's the ultimate story of standing up for what you believe in, no matter the odds. And that's the idea we're going to dig into. So to really get why this battle even happened, we have to talk about a political crisis. In the early days of the Muslim Empire, right after the Prophet Muhammad, the leader was supposed to be chosen through consultation with the community's consent. But that was all about to change. Big time. Okay, so the whole thing really kicks off in 661 AD. Ali, the fourth caliph, is assassinated, and his son Hassan signs a peace treaty with the governor of Syria, a guy named Muawiyah. Now, a huge part of that deal was that Muawiyah would not start a dynasty. But fast forward to 676 AD, and he does exactly that. He names his own son, Yazid, as his heir. Total breach of the treaty. 4 years later, Muawiyah dies, Yazid takes over, and he starts demanding that everyone pledge loyalty to him. And that set up a massive showdown. This right here, this is the heart of the conflict. It's a clash between two totally different ways of thinking about power. On one side, you have the old way, where leaders were chosen by the community, a process called Shura. They were accountable to the people. But the Umayyads brought in a whole new system, hereditary rule. Power just gets passed down from father to son. Suddenly, legitimacy isn't about consent. It's about your bloodline and your army. This wasn't just a small political tweak, it was a fundamental change to the idea of leadership in Islam. So here's the crucial point. To make his rule seem legitimate, Yazid needed the stamp of approval from the most respected figures of the time. And who was more respected than Hussein ibn Ali, the Prophet's own grandson? But for Hussein, pledging allegiance to Yazid would mean signing off on this whole corrupt hereditary system. It went against everything he believed in. So he said no. And Hussein's refusal wasn't just a quiet no. It set in motion a fateful journey to Iraq, all because he started getting pleas for help from a city that had long supported his family, Kufa. The people of Kufa just flooded him with letters, hundreds of them, all promising to back him if he would just come and lead them. So Hussein cautiously sends his cousin, Muslim ibn Aqil, to go check it out. And at first, the support is massive. It looks real. But here's where it all goes wrong. Yazid's new governor, a man named Ibn Ziyad, rolls into town and crushes the rebellion with threats and brute force. That massive support in Kufa, it just melts away. And Muslim ibn Aqil is left all alone, captured, and then executed. And the most tragic part? The lines of communication were cut. Hussein never got the message. He had no idea what happened. So he, along with his family, we're talking women, children, and a small handful of loyal friends, kept right on traveling towards Kufa, walking straight into a trap. Before they could even get near Kufa, they were cut off. A unit of the Umayyad army intercepted them. They were blocked from going any further and basically herded into the desert, to a dry, barren patch of land called Karbala. And it's right here, on this empty plain, that this whole standoff would come to its violent, tragic end. What happened next is one of the most remembered and retold events in all of Islamic history. So just picture this. On one side, you have Hussein's group, and we're talking about maybe 72 fighting men. This isn't an army. It was basically his immediate family and his most loyal friends. That's it. And on the other side, an Umayyad army that just completely dwarfed them. The numbers vary, but even the lowest estimates put them in the thousands. This was a professional army, sent with one job: get Hussein to submit or wipe him out. The Umayyad army's first move was just cruel. They cut off Hussein's entire camp from the Euphrates River, the only source of water. For 3 days in the baking desert sun, Hussein, his friends, and all the women and children with them had no water. This wasn't just a tactic. It was designed to cause maximum suffering. So this all leads to the final day, the 10th day of the month of Muharram, known as Ashura. Hussein makes one last plea to the army facing him, reminding many of them that they were the ones who invited him there. And his words actually hit home for one of their commanders, a man named Hur, who, in this incredibly dramatic moment, defects and joins Hussein.
But it wasn't enough to stop what was coming. The battle was completely one-sided. Hussein's companions and family fought and died one by one, until finally Hussein himself was killed.
You can just imagine the shockwaves this sent through the Muslim world. The Prophet's own grandson had been killed. The battle might have ended in a day, but its consequences, they were just getting started. After the battle, the army ransacked Hussein's camp and took the women and children prisoner. But the story didn't end there. Hussein's sister, Zainab, made sure of it. She was paraded in front of the governor in Kufa and even before Yazid himself in Damascus. And in those courts, she gave these fiery, fearless speeches that completely exposed the injustice of what they had done. She ensured their side of the story would never be silenced. The immediate reaction, especially back in Kufa, was this intense mix of rage and guilt, and it led to two major revolts. First, you had the Tawaban, or the penitents. Their whole movement was driven by guilt. They wanted to die in battle to atone for abandoning Hussein. Then came a more organized rebellion led by Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. His goal was straight-up revenge. He actually managed to hunt down and execute many of the people responsible for the massacre before his revolt was also crushed. Which brings us to the really big question. Why? Why does a battle from over 1,300 years ago still matter so much today? Why is Karbala so much more than just another historical event? Well, for the supporters of Ali's family, the Shi'at Ali, Karbala was the ultimate proof. It was the moment that solidified everything. It turned what was mostly a political group into a distinct religious community, Shia Islam, and the martyrdom of Hussein became its central defining story. Hussein's stand became this powerful symbol, a blueprint for the struggle between right and wrong, justice and tyranny. It's all built around these core themes, making the ultimate sacrifice for your principles, fighting for justice, resisting oppression no matter what, and the spiritual power that comes from martyrdom. And, even if you take away the specific religious context, the story speaks to these universal human values. Things like standing up for the truth, even if you're the only one, or choosing your principles over power, or holding on to your dignity when faced with incredible cruelty. These are ideas that resonate with everyone, everywhere. And this legacy is absolutely alive and well today. You see the story of Karbala woven into art and poetry for centuries. And it's been used as a powerful symbol in modern politics, maybe most famously during the Iranian Revolution in 1979, where protesters would cast the Shah as a modern-day Yazid. When you look at it all, the story of Karbala is this powerful reminder of how history never really dies. It answers that question. It shows how one single moment, one stand for principle, can echo through time, fueling identities, inspiring resistance, and shaping the world in ways no one could have imagined, even more than 1,000 years later.